A fitting room in a clothing store is a space built on an implicit, unspoken promise of absolute trust. You step inside, you draw the curtain or close the door, and you expect that the thin barrier between you and the outside world is enough. You are at your most physically vulnerable undressing, examining yourself, trying on clothes that may not fit, and the entire transaction is built on the assumption that you are alone. That trust is more fragile than anyone wants to admit. A college student was shopping alone at a small, independent boutique in a suburban strip mall on a Saturday afternoon. The store was stylishly decorated, smelled of scented candles, and had a pleasant, harmless aesthetic. She took several dresses into a large, well-lit fitting room at the back of the store and pulled the door shut behind her. The room was spacious. And its entire back wall, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, was covered by a single, enormous mirror, framed in dark wood. As she began trying on the first dress, leaning close to the glass to examine the fit at the waist, she noticed that something about the lighting in the room felt slightly, indefinably wrong. The reflection seemed just a fraction too bright, too sharp. There was a faint sense that the space behind the mirror wasn't solid. She remembered something she had read online months before, a simple test anyone can perform to identify a two-way mirror from a one-way glass. She straightened up, extended her index finger, and pressed the tip of her fingernail directly against the mirror's surface. In a standard, legitimate mirror, the reflective silver coating is applied to the back surface of the glass. This means there is always a small but clearly visible gap, roughly a quarter of an inch, between your physical fingernail and the reflection of your fingernail in the glass. She looked at the gap. There was no gap. Her fingernail and its reflection touched each other perfectly, tip to tip, with no space between them. The reflective coating was on the front surface of the glass. It was a two-way mirror. The fitting room felt suddenly enormous. The air felt cold. Her skin prickled with a wave of horror so sharp it was almost physical. She forced herself to remain calm. She put her own clothes back on with deliberate, controlled movements, acutely aware that she might be watched, picked up her bag, and walked out of the fitting room and straight out of the store without making eye contact with the owner at the counter. She sat in her car in the parking lot, hands trembling, and called the police. Officers arrived and confronted the boutique owner, who became immediately and visibly agitated. They walked through the store to the back storage room directly behind the fitting room wall. Behind the mirror was a hidden alcove, a narrow, dark space just large enough for one person to stand or sit in. Inside they found a folding chair, a box of tissues, and from the observer's position, a perfectly clear, completely unobstructed view into the bright fitting room. The police also found recording equipment, small, high-resolution cameras capturing everything the hidden space could see. The owner was arrested. The store was shut down the same afternoon. It is a violation that strikes at something fundamental. The architecture of our everyday world contains hidden geometries, walls with eyes, mirrors that look both ways, spaces within spaces designed for watching. The next time you step into a fitting room or a public restroom with a large, wall-mounted mirror, take 3 seconds and perform the test. Press your fingernail to the glass. If there is no gap, leave immediately. Subscribe to Echoes in the Dark, new mysteries unsealed every week.